today we are having a look at conversions. So conversions are a really, really important topic, all right, because conversions are what we use every single day in the real world, all right? Conversions are a really important topic in Maths Lit, and they get used in nearly every single topic that we do in Maths Lit. A quick quiz. Let's see which conversions we remember before we go through the actual theory of conversions. So have a look at these questions. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to have a look at these questions. Whoopsie daisies, make it a bit bigger so you can see it on your screen. Okay, if you need to screenshot them, you can as well. Screenshots are encouraged. All right, have a look at these questions and see which ones you can remember. Write down the answers and see which ones you get right. So there are 3 on your screen. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes just to have a look at them, test your knowledge, give them a go. All right, and then we're going to do them together. So 2 minutes, and then we're going to do them together. Okay. All right. I hope you're giving them a try, right? If you are completely, oh my gosh, ma'am, I don't know where you got this from. Numbers are, I just don't know. Okay. Don't stress. We are going to learn about it today in this lesson, but give it a try anyway. All right, again, welcome. Okay, if you are joining for the first time, welcome to Watobe. All right, we are busy just revising over our conversions quickly. All right, so welcome. Have a look on your screen, give them a try, and we're going to go through them very quickly, and then we're going to go through the theory. So, first question says, which is the equivalent of 2,000 millimeters? So guys, I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you the answer for these, and then we're going to do the theory for them. Okay, so if you didn't get them right, don't stress. If you did get them right, congratulations. So which is the equivalent of 2,000 millimeters? Your answer should have been, let's make sure our pen is on. Your answer should have been C. Oh, hold on, sorry, your answer should have been B. So for 1, you should have got the answer of B. Okay, so number 2. All right, number 2. What is 0,05 milliliters in liters? What is 0,05 milliliters in liters? You should have got the answer of D. It is 50 liters. Again, remember, if you didn't get them right, don't stress. We're going to go through the theory. All right, so 50 liters. Number 3, 30 milligrams is the same as, 30 milligrams is the same as, it's the same as, 30 milligrams is the same as D, 0,03 grams, 0,03 grams. And finally, a nice easy one for you there. Number 4, 15 kilometers is the same as, it's going to be the same as 15,000 meters. 15,000 meters. So if you got all of those right, congratulations. 4 out of 4, well done. 3 out of 4, well done. If you didn't get some of them right, don't stress. This is what today's lesson is on. So when we're looking at units of length and distance, the conversions that we need to know off by heart, everybody, off by heart, are the following. We need to know that when we have millimeters, okay, when we have millimeters, in order to get from millimeters to centimeters, what do we do? Those ones are nice and easy. I always think of it like my ruler. And what's really nice and easy is that in my exam or in my test, I normally have a ruler on me. Okay, I know that I need to divide by 10 to get from millimeters to centimeters. To get from centimeters to millimeters, what do? I times by 10. All right. To get from centimeters to meters, what do I need to do? Centimeters to meters, I need to divide by 100. And to do the opposite, to get from meters to centimeters, I need to times by 100. Apologies about the lights. I'm just going to turn them back on. They are motion sensitive. There we go. And I've been sitting for a while. So nice to get some exercise in as well. All right. To get from meters to kilometers, okay, I'm going from a smaller distance to a bigger distance. What do I need to do? I need to divide by 1,000. But to go from the bigger distance into the smaller distance, I need to multiply by 1,000. All right. So always good when you start off at the beginning of your test or exam and you get to that section on conversion, the first thing you want to do is at the beginning of your test, you want to write this out first. That's what I always do at the beginning of my tests or exams or beginning of this section of work. Is I write this out for myself. I put it at the beginning of my page. I put it right at the top where I can see it. If I learn one thing in Maths Lit, it's this one thing that I need to remember. This is going to help me. And it's one of those things that doesn't get given to you in the exam. Okay, everything else, your formulas in Maths Lit, all those things get given to you. But this conversion table does not get given to you. So this is the one thing that you really need to learn, everybody. So if you know how to take a screenshot, make sure you've taken a screenshot now of this little table. If you're not sure how to take a screenshot, make sure you've written it down on your page. Make sure you've got it somewhere and you've highlighted it for yourself, okay? If the one thing you learned from today is this table, this is the table you need to remember and take away for today. Okay, let's have a look at some worked examples. Let's do this together using that diagram above. Convert the following. 2,39 centimeters to meters. So I'm going from centimeters, all right? I'm going from centimeters and I'm going to meters. Okay, so when I go from centimeters to meters, what do I need to do? I go and I look at my table above. I need to divide by 100. All right. So if I'm going to divide by 100, I take my calculator, okay? And on my calculator, I'm going to say 2,39, right? Unfortunately, I can't get my calculator on the screen. I've tried a few times, but it keeps disappearing. So you are all going to have your calculators on you. I've got my calculator on me. 2.39 divided by 100 equals. And it gives me just want to make sure we can see the screen. 0,0239. All right. Please be very, very careful. Make sure you've read the instructions, right? If in the front of your exam paper, it says round off to 2 decimal places, then we must do that. If it doesn't say anything on this question, doesn't say anything here, you can leave it like this. All right, so 2,39 divided by 100 gives me 0,0239. What I mustn't forget to put is the meters. Right, mustn't forget to put the meters. If the question has told me round off to 2 decimal places, then yes, I need to then say that is equal to 0,02 meters. If it hasn't said it, I can leave it. Okay. All right. I'm hoping that you've taken a screenshot of this table because I'm going to move down now and we're going to lose it on our screen. but we'll keep referring to it throughout the lesson. Okay, all right. Next question says to me, 645 kilometers to meters. So I'm going to go back for this one quickly. If I'm going from kilometers to meters, it means that, all right, I need to go from kilometers to meters. And if I'm going backwards from kilometers to meters, it means I'm going to have to multiply by 1,000. So let's go have a look. On my calculator, I'm going to go and put, because I don't want to get anything wrong in the exam. All these marks are really nice, easy marks that I can get right. 645 times by 1,000, and that gives me 645,000 meters. Okay, remember your meters sign as well. Right, my last question there, 12,999 millimeters to meters. Okay, there are steps now, guys, that you can take to go and jump straight to meters. I like to do this so that it's done slowly. So I know that if I'm using my graph, okay, my graph tells me that I know how to go, if I'm following my graph, I know how to go from millimeters to centimeters first. So I can go to millimeters to meters if I'm confident in doing that, all right? But in a test or exam, often I'm super stressed. I'm not sure which step's next, so I like to do it slowly. So I'm going to go millimeters to centimeters first. So I'm going millimeters to centimeters. So I know I need to divide by 100. Divide by 10, apologies. Divide by 10. So here we go. So I'm going 12,999 divided by 10 will give me, so on my calculator, it gives me 1,299,9, and that gives me centimeters. Am I where I need to be? No, I want to be in meters. Do I know how to get from centimeters to meters? Yes, I do. If I go back up to my table, to get from centimeters to meters, what do I now need to do? I now need to divide by 100. So I go back down to my drawing. So back down to my question. I've now got 1,299,9, and I need to divide that by 100, and that gives me 12,999 meters. Again, if the question is super specific and it asks you to round off, then you will round off. But this question has not been specific, so we're happy to leave it just like it is. Remember to put your meters sign in. Okay, remember to put your meters sign in. What's another way to do it? If you're really confident with your conversions, what you could have done is you could have said, okay, 12,999 divided by 1,000 equals 12,999 meters. So if you're really confident and you know how to do that calculation, no problem with that. But I like to do it in steps. Also, you've drawn the table on your exam paper. That's the way you've always learned how to do it. Keep to that way, especially in a stressful exam situation. There's no harm in doing it. They're not going to take marks away from you. So rather stick to the steps. Right, now you try. So I'm going to put these up on the screen for you. While those are up, if there's any questions, you're more than welcome to raise your hand and I will answer any questions you may have. I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to have a look at them. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I see there's somebody who says that they can't hear me. If you can't hear me, you're going to have to maybe log out and log back in again, or check your sound settings. Okay, your sound settings, there might be something wrong there as well. But in the meantime, if there's anyone who has a question, you're welcome to raise your hand, and I do not mind answering your questions while you're having a look at these questions. Okay, we're all good. All right, well done, grade 12s. Okay, give it a try. Okay, make sure that you've got your pen and your paper and that you're giving it a try. Remember, maths is not a spectator sport. You have to actually do the work. Right, the more work you do, the better you're going to get at it. Okay, 1 more minute and then we're going to go through these three. All right, so I'm seeing some answers coming through. Well done. Keep going. Okay, remember to use your table to help you. All right. Okay, I'm seeing some answers coming through there. Well done, guys. Thank you so much for putting in the effort. Well done. I'm seeing some good answers. Okay, so I promise I'm not going to pick on anybody. So let's go through some of these questions. I will call on some of you a bit later, I promise. I'm seeing somebody with their hand up, so I'm just going to answer this question. In the meantime, I'm going to move this down a little bit for you so that you can do this next question just while I answer this question that somebody might have. Right, there's one more for you to do just while I answer Siposetu. Siposetu, how can I help?
Siposetu, please look for a pop-up on your screen that's going to ask you to unmute your mic. Then you'll be able to speak. Siposetu, are you still there?
Yeah.
There we go. Siposetu, how can we help?
Your mic is on, you can talk.
Okay, I think Siposetu may have been frozen, Kabete.
Yes.
Okay,
Or maybe it
all
was
right.
just
Yeah, shame. I'm going to carry on and then we can come back later. All right, so let's have a look at these questions so long. Okay, so if we're having a look at A, we're going from meters to millimeters. Again, I'm not sure how we get from meters to millimeters. I do know how I get from meters to centimeters and then centimeters to millimeters. So that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to say to myself, to get from meters to centimeters, I'm going to say 2 times by 100 is going to give me 200 centimeters. And now to get from centimeters to millimeters, I'll say 200 times by 10 will give me 2000 millimeters. Okay, so A would have been 2000. So all of you that got 2000 there, well done, everybody. Right, B, I'm going from kilometers to meters. So if I go back to my graph, I saw that to get from kilometers to meters, I needed to say 3,18 times by 1000 and that will give me 3,180 meters. Okay, so 3,180 meters. I really hope that you're using your calculator. There is no shame in using your calculator. You've got it in the exam for a purpose. Use your calculators. Right, see, I've got 80 meters to centimeters. Right, to get from meters to centimeters, I'm going to say 80 times by 100 is going to give me 8,000 centimeters. All right, and now we're going to go a little bit of the opposite way. So I've got 400 meters to kilometers. So for D was the last one that I had up for you to try by yourselves while I was answering some questions. So we had meters to kilometers. So remember, we look at our table. Our table tells us that to get from meters to kilometers, we need to divide. And so we're going to say 400 divide by 1,000, and that's going to give us 0,4 kilometers. So I'm seeing loads of good answers in the chat. Well done, everybody. Okay, I'm seeing a whole lot of good answers in the chat. I'm going to bring the full answers up so some people can take a screenshot. All right, and then we are going to have a look at E. So there are all the correct answers for you. I know that A is tricky. I know that having that second step in it, those ones are a little bit trickier. But remember, those ones carry one more mark or two. So they'll, instead of just being 1 mark, it'll be 2 marks. All right. Okay, moving to E. So last two, have a look at E and F for me. For E, we're going from kilometers to centimeters. So again, I know how to get from kilometers to meters. Kilometers to centimeters, I'm going to have to take a few steps here. So to get from kilometers to meters, what do I need to do? I need to go and I need to multiply that by 1,000. That will give me 63,000 meters. Okay, now I've got it in meters. Am I happy now that because it's in meters, I can now convert from meters to centimeters? Yes, because it's on my table. I'm going to say 63,000 times by 100 is going to give me 6,300,000 centimeters. Okay. And finally, last one, I'm going from millimeters to kilometers. All right. Again, I'm going from, I know how to get from millimeters to centimeters, centimeters to meters, meters to kilometers. If you know how to go straight there, that's fine. Happy, well done. All right. If you're not 100% sure, do it in the steps. Nothing wrong with doing it in the steps, especially because you've got your table there. So we're going to have 8 divided by 10, and that's going to give me 0,8 centimeters. To get from centimeters to meters, 0,8 divided by 100 is going to give me 0,008 meters. To get from meters to kilometers, I need to divide that by 1,000, and that's going to give me 0,000,008 kilometers. That one, I would really suggest you use your calculator and be very careful and very, very specific. Just checking all my zeros that I got them right. I'm seeing 5. I'm seeing 5 in your answers, so I'm happy with that. Again, another screenshot moment there to take those down. Remember your steps. That's an important one. All right. Again, those ones carry slightly more marks than your easier ones. Okay. All right. Moving down to our next section for this evening. So let's continue where load shedding left off. Okay. So our next part says, Listen up, exercise 2. Now we're going to have it in a little bit of a more word sum. So a little bit more maths lit. Okay, so in the exam, in your final paper or your June paper, you will see conversions like that nice section in the beginning of the paper where it asks you to do nice conversions. Then you might move on to questions that have a little bit more words in them. And so let's have a look at exercise 2. So we've got 3 friends measure their heights in different units. Jabulani is 152 centimeters. Ben is 1,79 meters. And Lindor is 1,886 millimeters. Which friend is the tallest? Show necessary calculations. So when you are comparing people's heights, it's very difficult if you've got everybody all in different figures there. So we've got meters, we've got centimeters, and we've got millimeters. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put everybody in the same figures, okay, in the same measurements. All right, so in my opinion, the easiest one to do probably is to put them all in millimeters. If I'm going to put them into meters, I'm going to get some decimals. It is possible to put them into meters. Nothing wrong with putting them into meters, but I'm going to get some decimals. I don't really like working with decimals, so I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm going to go put them all into millimeters. Right, I'm happy with Lindor for now. Okay, Lindor was already in 1,806 millimeters, so Lindor was cool. Right, if I go back to Jabulani, okay, was 152 centimeters. If I want Jabulani to be in millimeters, what do I need to do to get centimeters to millimeters? I need to multiply that by 10. So if I multiply that by 10, I'm going to get 1,520 millimeters. And finally, I've got Ben. Ben, his height was 1,79 meters. Well, I know how to go from meters to centimeters. I times that by 100. And that's going to give me 179 centimeters. And to go from centimeters to millimeters, I need to multiply that by 10, and it's going to give me 1790 millimeters. Now everything is in the same unit of measurement, millimeters, millimeters, millimeters. So now can I compare them? Yes, I can. Which friend is the tallest? We're going to say, therefore, Lindor is tallest. How do we know he's the tallest? Because 1,886 is the biggest number, right? If you could see that just from looking at those numbers, that 1,886 was the tallest as well, that's cool. But what tells us that we need to do calculations here? It says, show all necessary calculations. So if you just go and you write your final answer, you're not going to get all your marks. You have to show the calculations that you compare them using the same unit of measurements. Right, question B. A florist works out that she needs 125 millimeters of ribbon per bunch of flowers. Calculate the total cost of her ribbon. If the ribbon costs 9.80 per meters and she needs to wrap 120 bunches of flowers. That is a lot of words for maths. I completely agree with you. So let's break it down. She needs 125 millimeters of ribbon per bunch of flowers. Okay? She needs to wrap 120 bunches of flowers. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with working out how much ribbon does she need altogether. All right. So I've got 120 bunches of flowers times by 125. On my calculator, I'm going to go do that calculation. So 120 times by 125, and it gives me 15,000 millimeters. At this point, I should say to myself, hold up. Now I've got a problem, all right? Because they want to charge me per meter, all right? And what do I have in my sum? I've got it in millimeters. So I've got a problem here, right? If I want to calculate how much money I'm going to need, what am I going to need to do? Do I need millimeters? No, you should all be shaking your heads. I need to have it in meters. So what do I need to do with this millimeters? I need to break it down so that it's in meters first. Okay, go back to your table. Tell yourself, how am I going to get from millimeters to meters? Well, the first thing that I'll do is I'll say 15,000 divided by 10 gives me 1,500 centimeters. All right. And if I take 1,500 and I divide that by 100, that gives me 15 meters. So in other words, 15,000 millimeters is the same as saying 15 meters. Now, am I happy? Have I got meters and meters? Yes. So I can now go and say, well, 9 Rand 80 times by 15, 9 Rand 80 times by 15 will give me 147 Rand. If you're getting some weird figures there, if you're getting like 147,000 Rand, you know you've made a mistake. Okay, so then you know you've got to go back. Maybe you've made some errors in your calculation and you've got to recalculate it. You're never going to have such huge sums of money for a small little florist that's selling 120 bunches of flowers. So you just need to be very, very careful there. I'm seeing some people are telling me they're getting a different answer. I'm going to do it once more on my calculator. 9 Rand 80 times 15. I definitely get 147. Maybe just calculate it again. Be very careful with your calculations. All right, let's move along. So when we're doing measurement systems in our MathLit grade 12 course, okay, we're looking at two different measurement systems. There's the metric system. That's one we use in South Africa and in other countries. Okay, so it's talking about centimeters, millimeters, kilometers, and then millimeters, liters, kiloliters, and then kilograms, grams, and milligrams. And then there's the system called the imperial system. So that's the system that they use in America. And you would have heard them talk about that on TV shows. So they talk about like yards, inches, gallons, pounds, miles, feet. So that's what they use to measure their conversions, and they use to measure their liquids and distances. But we actually have a system where we can convert between our metric system and the imperial system. And what we use is we use a conversion factor. The conversion factor is going to be given to you in the exam. You do not need to learn the conversion factors off by heart, guys. You don't need to know these ones. So the only thing you need to know off by heart is that little table that we learned in the beginning, how to get from millimeters to centimeters, centimeters to meters, meters to kilometers. That you need to know off by heart. But converting from imperial to metric and metric to imperial, you don't need to know this off by heart. They will always give this to you in a test or exam. Let's have a look. Using the conversion table below, answer the following questions. Always good to make sure you understand what's going on in the table. So they're telling you, on the left-hand side of the table, we've got the imperial system. So like what happens in America kind of vibes. Okay, so here's our imperial system. On the right-hand side of the table is the metric system, how we measure things in South Africa. So 1 mile in America is the same as saying 1.6 kilometers. 1 yard in America is the same as saying 0.91 meters. 1 foot is the same as 30 centimeters, and 1 inch is the same as 2.54 centimeters. Again, you do not need to know this off by heart. It will be given to you in the exam. Right, a typical kind of question will ask you, convert the following, 40 miles to kilometers. So if I look at my table tells me 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers. So if I have 40 miles, I'm going to say 40 times by 1.6 is equal to, take out my trusty calculator, 40 times 1.6, I get 64 kilometers. Number 2 will be 650 yards to meters. So 1 yard is equal to 0.91 meters. So I'm going to say 650 times by 0.91. 650 times by 0.91 gives me 591.5 meters. And finally, the last one, 50 inches to centimeters. So 50 times by, I go up to the table they give me, 2.54 equals 50 times 2.54, 127 centimeters. Okay, so we're converting from imperial system to metric system using the table that they give me. All right. Now your teacher has here. Now you try. So we're going to go through this together so that we can get to the number sums, which are the word sums, which are a little bit further on. So it says 3.79 yards. So if you want to put it in the chat there, you can for me. What do I need to do to get from 3.79 to get from meters to yards? Well, to get from meters to yards, what if I was multiplying to get from yards to meters? What do I now need to do to get from meters to yards, everyone? I need to divide, hey? Okay, so I'm going to say 3.7 divided by 0.91. So 3.7 divided by 0.91, and that's going to give me 4.07 yards. I'm rounding off to 2 decimal places. You can round off to 1 decimal place. It depends on what the question asks you. I like to round off to 2 decimal places, but 1 decimal place is also okay, depending on what they ask. All right, 180 centimeters, 2 feet, right? Because we're going the other way now, what are we going to do? We're going to divide. So 180 centimeters divided by 2.54, because there's 2.54 centimeters in each. Oh, hold on a sec. I'm lying to you. There's 30 centimeters. So let's fix that quickly. So divided by 30, divided by 30, and that will give me 6 feet. And finally, my last one is 22,169 millimeters to inches. And so to get from inches to centimeters, I times by 2.54. But now what am I doing? I'm going from millimeters to inches. So I only know what centimeters to inches is. So the first thing I need to do is I need to take this and I need to divide it by 10. And that will give me centimeters. Now that I've got it in centimeters, now what can I do? Now I can convert it to inches. So to get from centimeters to inches, what do I need to do? I need to divide by 2,54. So on my calculator, 2,216,9 divided by 2,54 equals 2216,9 divided by 2,54, 872,8 inches. All right. Take a screenshot of the last question and let's have a look at it together. In a high jump competition, Lindy jumps 2,4 feet and Lester jumps 0,85 meters. Who jumps the highest? And they've told you 1 foot equals 0,3048 meters. So what I'd like you to do is have a look at that. While you're looking at it, Kebetwe, can you put up the poll for them in the meantime, so people can start answering the poll? Awesome. Okay, guys, so there is the poll for you up as well. So you can start answering the poll, and then you can answer this question by yourself as well in the meantime. I'm going to give you 1 minute to have a look at it. But I'd also like you to answer the poll. Very important that you answer that poll before you go. All right, make sure you have answered the poll. Okay, I will answer questions. I promise I'm going to stay on the call. I promise to answer questions. Okay, so let's have a look at this question while you're doing the poll at the same time. So I've got Lindy jumps 2,4 feet. Lester jumps 0,85 meters. Who jumps the highest? Remember what I said to you. You cannot compare oranges and apples. You got to have everything the same. So let's get rid of this feet. I've got 2,4. And if I want the feet to be in meters, what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply it by 0,3048. So on my calculator, I'm going to take 2.4 multiply by 0.3048, and it's going to give me 0,73152 meters. Now I need to compare. So I need to see which one is higher, 0,85 or 0,73152. In other words, who's jumped higher, Lindy or Lester? Which one is higher, Lindy or Lester, guys? Put it in the chat, throw it out there, Lindy or Lester, who's jumped higher? Which one's higher? Awesome. So therefore, good, we must always finish the question off. Lester jumps higher. Fantastic, well done. Okay, last question. Andy travels 3,250 meters. Determine the cost of his gas. If gas costs 250 Rand per mile or $2.50 per mile, 1 kilometer equals 0,214 miles. So if I'm looking at the meters, well, I need to get the meters into kilometers first. Okay, so that's the first thing I need to do. So I've got 3,250, and to get meters into kilometers, I need to divide by 1,000. So that's going to give me 3,25 kilometers. Now I've got it into kilometers. Now what do I need to do? I need to put it into miles. So 3,25 times 0,6214. 3,25 times 0,6214 is going to give me 2,01955 miles. I haven't got my final answer yet, so I never round off until the very, very end. So now I'm going to say 2,50 times by whatever's left on my calculator, which was 2,01955. And I'm left with $5.05. All right, I really hope that you enjoyed that lesson tonight. There are still some of you who haven't answered the poll. I hope that you have answered the poll before you log out. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to log off. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming through today. If you are joining us again, we will see you again in the next lesson. If you still have a question, I will answer your question. Please raise your hand and I will answer your question for you. So please go ahead and ask your question, right? Otherwise, you are more than welcome to log off. Right, Kumana.
Please look out for the pop-up. Okay.
There we go. How can I help?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask for number, I think it's at the back, number C, where you said 22,169 divided by
This one.
2,54. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yeah.
It gave me 8,727.95. I don't understand how.
So I got 2,216,9. Happy with that on your calculator?
Yes, ma'am.
Divided by 2.54.
Yes.
Put it into your calculator for me. What do you get?
I got 8,727.95.
Okay, careful. Do you have, let's put it in your calculator again. So 2216,9 divided by, do you see? See where you made a mistake? That's okay, no problem. It's just calculating mistakes. Don't stress. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. If you have another question, okay. Ratal, you should have an unmute on your screen. Yes, how can I help?
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, how can I help?
I didn't understand the question. A, what happens between Linda and Lester? Like, you didn't explain further.
Okay, no problem. So if we look at Lindy and Lester, so first we took Lindy's feet, so 2,4, and we got it into meters, hey? So we said 2,4 times by 0,3048 because we had to convert it into meters, hey? So now, how much has Lindy jumped? She's jumped 0,73152 meters. Now, if we're comparing and we look at 0,73152, which is what she jumped, and we look at Lester jumped 0,85. Which one is higher, 0,85 or 0,73? Which one's higher? Ratel, you with me?
I think she muted.
Okay,
maybe you could show
okay.
us a thumbs up or say something in the chat.
Okay, Ratel, so 0,85 will be higher, hey? Because, there you are. So 0,85 will be higher than 0,73. So if we had to put the ruler up and we looked at 0,85, that one would measure higher than 0,73 would measure. So who had jumped higher? Therefore, Lester had jumped higher. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. No problem. Right. Is there anybody else who has a question? Otherwise, myself and Kabetsa are going to log off for tonight. Anybody else, please raise your hand and we will unmute you. Otherwise, you are welcome to log off, everybody. Nobody else with a question. Okay, I see Tsepa has a question. Do you want to raise your hand so that we can see where you are, or you can unmute yourself and ask your question? Tsepa? Shepa, I'm not sure where you are on the call, so you need to raise your hand, my love, or you just need to ask your question.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi there, what's your question?
Ma'am, can you please go back to the conversions of the inches and stuff?
This one here. Okay, what's your question? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, shame. I think Tolo might be in bad signal. Tolo, do you want to send us maybe a question in the... Tolo, do you want to send us a question maybe in the chat? It's just not coming through very clearly. I think maybe you might be having some bad signal there by you. Okay, Tolo, I'm going to ask you if you can send us a message in the chat just because we can't really hear you. So if you can just send us a message in the chat, that would be awesome. Siposetu, I see you say that you've got a question. You need to raise your hand, otherwise you can't. Oh, there you are there. Sorry, you should be able to unmute yourself. How can we help you?
Please look for a pop-up on your screen that's going to ask you to unmute Siposetu.
Imperial, that one, how do you calculate? Okay, Siposetu, if you aren't sure, okay, if you aren't sure and you didn't quite understand how we went through it a bit earlier on, or maybe your connection wasn't really good, the video for tonight's lesson will be available on Watobe's website later this evening or even tomorrow, so tomorrow afternoon, or you can go onto YouTube and it'll be available on Watobe's channel on YouTube as well. So maybe go back, go through it and watch it again because maybe the connection wasn't really good. So maybe go back and have a look then. Okay, Habeto, I think that we are going to call it a night if that's possible. Thank you so much, everybody.